Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Is this session being recorded,
I
ma'am?
just turned on. I just turned on recording because I thought it would be good for you to see it later.
Yeah, ma'am, because we don't have the PowerPoint presentations also, no? And
Ah,
some of the
yes.
students are not here.
Okay, okay. I
Will
can
you be able to
share
get?
the presentation also with you.
Okay.
Do you have any group or something, or shall I send it to the representative?
Yeah, ma'am, you can send it to me. I'll share it with the group.
Ah, sure. All right, then. I will send the presentation to you. Plus, I just started recording the first part. I forgot actually.
Okay, ma'am.
This point onwards, it will be recorded.
All right, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. So, the extent to which you can go on connecting external modules is this. You can go up to 24 digital inputs. You can go up to 8 analog inputs. And digital outputs, it can cater up to 16 digital outputs. And as for analog outputs, it can connect up to 2. So, this is the capacity, the maximum capacity that the logo can handle. And if you think about the expansion modules, you can connect up to 8 in a row so that it will be communicating with the main module. Then as for these other shift bits, cursor keys and X blank outputs, those things you will see when you start programming. You don't need to consider or worry much about them for the moment. Right. Next, how to identify the logo. When you look at the logo, there will be many notations on it. So these notations are what they stand for. 1224 means voltage class 1. 230 means voltage class 2. The two voltage versions that I mentioned in the previous slide. Then if you get the letter R visible on the logo module, then the output modules are relay. If there is no R, that means the 4 output terminals are all transistor type or solid state output. If you get the letter C printed on the logo module, that means it has a weekly timer integrated. That means it can be used for timing operations, such as to set an alarm at a particular day on a particular week. Then the notation O, simple O, means there is no onboard display. Then, so up to this point, these are all what is mentioned on the main logo module. As for expansion modules, you will get DM for digital modules, AM for analog modules, and CM for communication modules. Now the problem is, what are communication modules? Communication modules are network modules. If you want to get the logo in a network, you can connect CMs, communication modules. For example, EIB-KNX, that is one kind of network that the logo supports, right? So you can connect such network modules as well. And when you are selecting a logo, what you will basically look at will be the number of inputs, digital or analog, the number of outputs, digital or analog, and when you take digital, whether the outputs should be relay type or transistor type. So basically, I think you are aware about the differences. The transistor type outputs can do fast switching and they give DC outputs, whereas the relay type can accommodate AC or DC but slow in switching frequency. Alright, then the working voltages, voltage classes will be considered. Also, the cost should be optimized when you are selecting expansion modules and main modules for your logo application. And this is how you mount. You have the rail, the DIN rail running behind this, actually the rail that is used for very commonly used for many PLC operations, PLC mountings. And you have the main module, you have the expansion module, you slide it along the rail up to the until it fits into the grooves of the main module, and you lock it securely with the latch here. When the latch is in place, the two modules are securely fitted together so that the signals can transfer from one module to the other. There should be no gap. All right, and then connecting, wiring. When you are going to wire the logo module, if it is an AC module or DC module, it's better to use safety recommendations, right? So here there is a phase safety fuse connected. And when you are using for the AC version, wiring for the AC version, normally varistors are used. When you are connecting sensors or wiring sensors to the logo modules, you normally wire them in order so that the plus voltage and the zero voltage, the plus given as L plus and the zero voltage given as M are common. You wire the digital input. If you are wiring an analog input, again the power source M is common and you can wire a potentiometer. So here they have shown digital inputs wired to I1 and I2, whereas an analog input is wired to I8. Right? So what is special about these logo modules are, in the logo main module, I1 to I8, as I mentioned, there are 8 inputs. If you want, you can use all 8 as digital inputs. Or else, you can use I1, I2, I7 and I8 as analog inputs also. They will accommodate or they will support 0 to 10 volt DC analog signal. Right? So that means I1 and I2, I7 and I8, those 4 inputs can either be analog voltage inputs or they can be wired as digital inputs. Whatever you wire them as, the program decides how you are going to use them. So these are sensor connections given for an AC powered logo module. Earlier it was a DC powered logo module here. And this diagram shows an AC powered logo module, how you connect sensors or switches. So 6 digital inputs are wired here. Connecting logo modules, outputs. Output terminals are wired in this manner. Each output terminal will have 2 nodes, 2 connection points. You wire the load and you supply power to one. You wire the load, you supply power to one. It goes like that. So this is the R type or the logo R relay type output. If you are going to wire solid state or transistor type output, you simply connect the 2 terminals to the load. Right? So you can go through these slides, and when you get an opportunity to connect an actual logo to a load, or when you connect an actual logo to a sensor, these things will come useful. Next, we will move on to programming. So we are going to start our labs with programming so that you are familiar with how you write programs and what are the programming blocks of the logo module. So as I said, the logo O version does not have a display. So they are not programmed directly on the unit. For the logo O version, you have to always connect the logo to a PC or a laptop or something to program it. But if the logo is without an O, that means it has the on-module display. You can either program it using the display, the key set on board, or you can program it using a computer. Both options are available. When you are programming it using a computer, the software that you use is called as LogoSoft. So, and that is the software which I shared with you. Terms related to the logo program. So, when you are programming the logo using the key set using the small screen on the logo. You should specially remember these terms because it is very easy when you remember them. When you are programming it using the software, these terms are available, but you have a lot of options because you can even refer the help. When you are using the logo display to program, the facilities are very limited. You cannot refer the help. Therefore, you have to remember these terms and you have to be thorough with the terms, and or else you have to refer a catalog while you write the program on the display. Connectors. The first most common term that you use are connectors. What are connectors? Connectors are digital and analog inputs and outputs are all called connectors. The digital inputs are named. Digital connectors are named as capital I1, I2, I3, I4 and so on. Whereas analog input connectors are labeled as AI1, AI2, AI3 and so on. Then output connectors in logo, digital output connectors are labeled as capital Q1, Q2, Q3 and so on. And analog output connectors are labeled as AQ1, AQ2, so on. Right? So I can't say so on there. Why? Because analog outputs are limited to 2. Right? AQ1 and AQ2, that's it. Right? Is that clear? All right. So next, once connectors are selected, the next thing you will need is logical operations. These logical operations appear in the form of blocks. Blocks are the operation, right? So we have not only logical operations, we have timing operations, counting operations, everything has to be included in the program. So there are blocks. These blocks are your functions, and each block that you drag onto your screen will get a unique block number, B01, B02 and so on, right? So the maximum number of blocks that you can accommodate will be 400 in a large logo program. That's the capacity maximum, right? So I'm talking about the logo 8 version and above. Logo versions are available like logo 3, logo 4, logo 5, logo 6, like that. They went on changing with time. New generations were introduced. So if I'm talking about the logo 8 version and above, you can go up to 400 blocks in one program. Then functions. So these blocks are actually functions. They are separated out or categorized as general functions and special functions. When you look at the logo module display, it will show as GF. GF for general functions, SF for special functions. General functions are your logical blocks. AND operation, OR operation, XOR operation, NOT operation. These logical functions are all included in the general functions, whereas everything else comes under special functions. Timing operations, there are various timers, counting operations, message blocks, flags, analog comparators, everything, so many things, right, come under special functions, etc. So there are more special functions than general functions, right? So under special functions, I mentioned flags. Flags means the virtual outputs. I'm sorry, they don't come under special functions. They come under connector, right? So under special functions, you will get timers, counters, and arithmetic operations, analog comparators, whatever, calculation blocks, everything, message text, everything comes under special function. We will look at these when we start writing programs. So as I mentioned, these are the connector. Digital inputs here I1, I2 and digital outputs Q1, Q2. Blocks, general function blocks and or special function blocks, pulse relay, counters, on delay timers, so on. If you look at a block, this is what it will look like. When you are programming the logo looking at its screen only, on module programming, you will look at or you will only see one block on the screen at a time because the screen is very small. If there are many blocks connected, you have to use your arrow keys to browse between the blocks of the program and get to each block separate. At one time, only one block will be displayed on the screen. Then if you take this block, now here what they have shown is an OR operation block. The output is given to digital output Q1. The two inputs, digital input I1 and digital input I2 are connected as inputs. That means if you press I1 switch or if you press I2 switch, Q1 will get power. Q1 will turn on. And this OR block has 3 terminals. In the logo 8 and above, there are 4 terminals. So to the unused terminals, you connect blank connectors. These blank connectors are labeled as X. That means they don't do anything. They just leave room for future expansion. That's all. I hope that is clear. You have a block. You have its function labeled on it. On the right side, you have its output. On the left side, you have the inputs. Unused inputs are labeled with X or blank connector. That's how it goes. If you have any questions, if you need any clarifications, please ask. Right. So here, a better version, better view. B1 is given as the block number. You have the block, logical operation, inputs and outputs, and you have the block number. Next, look at the output, it is Q1. Look at the inputs. One input is digital input 3. Another input is a blank connector. And what about this input? This input, well, it is another block. So that means this block number 1 on the left side is connected to block number 2, another block. If you browse using your arrow keys and if you go to block number 2, you will see what operation function it has. If you look at this program, it has many blocks. So, block number 1 gives the output to Q1. It is an OR operation. On the left, it has 4 terminals which are connected to 2 blank connectors to block 2 and block 3. If you browse over, scroll using arrow keys to block 2, this is what will be displayed on your screen, block number 2. On the right side, it is connected to block number 1. On the left side, it is connected to a blank connector and 3 digital inputs. If you come back here and go to the block number 3, block number 3 will be displayed. On the right, block 1 connection is shown. On the left, 3 digital inputs and a blank connector. So this is how your logo program will be looking like. Alright, so the methods of programming the logo. On logo, we cannot actually display online, but I will upload a video to show you how a logo is being programmed on the module itself. Right? It's a YouTube video, you can watch it at leisure. Right? Then the other point is using logo software. Using logo software, how we program, I can demonstrate because we all have the software. And it will look like this. This is the logo software. The logo software once installed, we'll have the screen in this way. This white area is the program area. You can have it with a mesh or without a mesh. It has the menu bar. It has the standard toolbar. It has the programming toolboxes, the information box, and the status bar. These are the main parts. The advantage of using Logo software is create the program. So you can create the program and you can look at it as an overview how the blocks lie and how they are connected to each other. You can make any modification. You can simulate. That's a big advantage. Without loading the program onto the real Logo module, the hardware, you can simulate using the software. If you simulate it using the software, it will open a simulation window. It will show you some switches and bulbs which stand for inputs and outputs. Switches stand for the inputs, bulbs will stand for the outputs, digital outputs, and you can run the module on simulation mode and check whether your outcomes are achieved, whether the program outcomes are achieved. If not, you can stop the simulation, make further modifications, save again, simulate again. So some testing can be done using the simulator. Once the program is ready, you can load it onto your Logo module. The Logo module can be wired prior to loading the program. Once the program has been loaded onto the Logo module, you can test online. That's another feature. What is testing online? You go onto online mode, and when the actual physical factory inputs and outputs are operating in the real factory atmosphere, you look at the screen and see how the power flows. You can further figure out any discrepancies or any shortcomings in your program. If you find any, you can modify the program and again have a test run online monitoring. Next, you keep a document, you keep a soft copy of the original program always before you implement it in the factory. Right. When you look at your Logo module, initially you will find menus. As you start your program, you will find menus. You have the program menu, you have the card menu, clock, right? These things you can read for additional information, and also I will explain as I come across them. The programming menu will have edit. That's the most important thing that you will require at this point, to go to program mode and go to edit mode and write the program. So this comes in handy or comes in useful when you are using the display on board. When you are using the computer to program, you don't need to pay much attention to these menus because you can load the program to the Logo, and anyway when you are loading the program will go, the Logo module will go to stop mode. You load the program and run it again. So just to give you an overview, not to have you memorize these things, general functions are these: AND operation, AND with edge evaluation, NAND, OR, NOR, XOR. These are all the GFs, general functions. Then special function. We have on delay timers, off delay timers, on off delay timers, retentive on delay timers, relays, wiping relays, pulse generators, different special functions. So counters, message text. So you can see that the number of special functions are more. And as the Logo evolved from Logo version 3 onwards, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, as it went on, the special functions increased in number. So the Logo newer versions have more special functions than the older version. So therefore, using a new version Logo software, you can program an old Logo hardware module, but using the old logo software, you cannot program a new logo hardware module because as the logo evolved, special functions have increased. Right. So now let's move on to some hands-on exercises. When we are programming using the logo module, we can use many programming languages. You must be familiar with computer programming languages such as C, assembly, VB, whatever. These programming languages that I am going to talk about today are different from the normal computer programming languages. These programs are PLC programming languages. These languages are meant for PLC. There is a standard, IEC 61131-3 standard, right? You will, when you read the literature, you will find those information. Under that standard, there are 5 programming languages for the PLC program. One of these programming languages are called the ladder diagram. The ladder diagram has networks in the form of, yes, any questions? The ladder diagram has networks just like in an electrical wiring diagram. The electrical wiring diagrams have evolved, and that is how the ladder language has been designed, right? So therefore, for those who are more familiar with electrical wiring, ladder language will be easier or more familiar. We will take a simple example. We have a switch, we have a bulb. If you want to turn on the bulb by pressing the switch, right? So we have a push button, actuation of push button S1 causes a lamp B1 to be switched on. The lamp illuminates as long as the push button is actuated or pressed. If you release the push button, the lamp will turn off. Alright, so if you have a pen and paper, please sketch the electrical wiring diagram of this. All right. So what will you see? A simple sketch of the diagram will be, you have a voltage source, you have a switch normally open, you connect it to the bulb, and you terminate it using the 0 voltage. Alright, so if you are going to write a program using ladder language, these components will be replaced by software. Physically, switch S1 will be wired to the logo input terminal. Bulb B1 will be wired to the digital output terminal. And the connection between input and output will be written through a program written into the memory of the logo module. I hope that is clear. So the physical input and the physical output won't be directly linked like in the wiring. Instead, the input will be wired to the logo digital input. Output will be wired to the logo digital output. Input and output will be connected through the software program. Right. Next, we are going to look at how to write this program. Take out your software which I shared. Open it up over here. Right? Open the application. Okay, so I hope you are following me. Open up your application. So these are the bars, menu bars and toolbars that we saw earlier, right? So you have with a grid, or we can call it a mesh, actually it's a grid. With the grid you have the circuit diagram 1. Did everybody come up to this point? When you are going to write the program using ladder language, you go to the ladder diagram. So this is another language, I will discuss this later. When you want ladder, you go to ladder. This is ladder. You can see it goes as network. So if you take your wiring that I showed you earlier, the ladder program will look exactly like your wiring. You have contacts here, right? You have contacts, you have bulbs, you have coils, right? First of all, the left margin is your power rail or your positive rail, positive voltage rail. Consider it as the plus voltage line. You always connect your circuit networks. You initiate your circuit networks from left to right. Right? You have a normally open contact. Right? You can give it any label. I1, I2, I3. See, you have up to digital input I24. And you have other selections. We will talk about them later. Mainly digital inputs, you have I1 to I24. By default, it has taken the value I1. I will leave it as that. Now it is somewhere else. You can drag it to where you want. Right. So this is the first component in your program. Next, to represent the bulb, we take a coil. Again, you can change the label. By default, it has taken Q1 digital output. If you want, you can change the label. I leave it as that. Then I connect from the power rail to the input and to the output. And there is no 0 voltage line. The network terminates here. Right? So this is your very first ladder program. Alright, so are you working with me? Have you come up to this point? Alright, everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, right. The next thing we do is, since we don't have the physical hardware to load this, and even if we do, we first simulate, right? How do you simulate? You go to sim. You can see a switch and a bulb. You run the simulator, you turn on the switch, power will flow to the bulb. You turn off the switch, the power terminates here. Bulb is not illuminated. Again, turn on the switch, the bulb will light up, turn off, it turns off. So this is, the switch is being used as a detent. You can turn it into a push button because our question says push button. Right click on the simulation switch, go to simulation parameter. Right click on the switch, go to simulation parameter. Make it turn, it is already by default switch. You can make it momentary push button. Okay? Right. Now what happens? When you press it, the bulb lights up. When you release it, it turns off. You cannot leave it pressed. Is the difference clear? I hope everybody is following. All right. Okay. So now if you are satisfied with the program, you turn off simulation and you save this as, I will save it in the same folder that we are using. Ladder 1. That's done. So you can close the circuit, close everything. It will look blank like this. If you want to open again, open. It will look like this. Open. Right. So I hope you are clear with this. This is a simple ladder program. Right. The next thing I want to tell you about is there is another programming language. The other programming language is called as function block diagram. FBD, function block diagram. So you can directly write, you can take another new diagram, right? Add new diagram, double click on add new diagram. Say OK, right? This is the new circuit diagram, and by default it is taking the function block diagram language, right? So if you are going to connect inputs and outputs using function block diagram, they will look like boxes, right? If you take an input, it will look like this. If you take an output, it will look like this. You are just simply connecting an input to an output like this. If you simulate, again, switch to bulb, right? You connect, the bulb illuminates, when you turn on, when you turn off, the bulb turns off. Again, you can make this simulation parameter push button if you wish. Right? This is a switch. If you want, you can right click, go to simulation parameters and make it a momentary push button if you want. So that as long as you keep it pressed, it's on. If you release, it's off. Right. The other thing is you can also convert between languages. Right. If you want to convert this into ladder, well, go here, convert to ladder. It will look like this. So these are the two options, two languages that we most commonly use. Are you okay up to this point? Is it clear? Do you have any questions? All right. So I hope you are clear, right? Okay. So shall I continue with the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the exercise we tried and an overview of what we did. We had the switch connected to the bulb, the electrical circuit. If the input is off, the output is off. If the input is on, the output is on. Right. So we tried the electrical circuit. All right. And then we converted it into a ladder program. All right. Next step is, can you try this example? Shall we draw the ladder diagram or the ladder language program for this exercise? Okay, you can take some time. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. One of you can work this on the ladder program and show me by sharing your screen. I would like to see one or two of you sharing your screen. All right, go ahead. Do you remember the question or do you want to see the question again?
Ma'am, can we see the question again?
All right. Okay, quickly sketch it. And we quickly draw it using the ladder language. Anybody ready? Anybody ready to share the screen? Okay, so can I see the screen? All right, so have you finished drawing it using the ladder program? Do you have any difficulty in sharing the screen?
We have a difficulty in drawing.
Drawing. Okay, so that means you are not sure about the answer. Okay, that's okay. You can show me whatever to up to what extent you have gone so that I can explain beyond that point. One of you, yes, just show me. Did you turn on your ladder language platform? That means the basic software. Did you go to the ladder language section? Did you find the components? Because if this was the physical lab, I would have come to your machines and looked at you and whether you actually understood. But since this is distance learning, I would like to see one of your screens to see To what extent you have grasped? It's okay. Just share one screen and just tell me where you have stopped, and beyond that I will explain. Okay, so this is the question. Okay, now tell me then what are your inputs and what are your outputs? How many inputs and how many outputs does this question have?
4 inputs.
4 inputs. Hmm. What are the 4 inputs?
The 3
S1 is one, S2 is another, S3
switches.
is another, 3 switches. All right. What is the other input?
S3. There is something called K1. It's
Yes,
sort of a switch.
there is something called K1. So now here, if I explain, K1 is a relay, right? S1, S2, S3 are the 3 digital inputs. They have driven the K1 relay, and the K1 contact has connected to the lamp L1. So how many outputs do we have? Only the lamp L1, right? So if this is a physical system using hardwired relay logic, then you have a relay coil here and you have a relay contact here. Now, if you are going to replace this with a logo, what you do is you take 3 digital inputs, S1 connected to I1, S2 connected to I2, S3 connected to I3. You have 3 physical digital inputs. The relay is replaced by a relay output terminal of the logo, so that the relay output terminal is directly wired to the lamp L1, which is your digital output Q1 in the program. Is that clear? Therefore, in the real scenario, you have 3 digital inputs and 1 digital output. Okay, if you understand up to that, can I see your connectors on your logo software? You can show me how you have dragged and how many connectors you have dragged onto your logo software and how you have connected them. Okay, so can I see somebody's screen? So then we will look at the program actually. So I don't think you will need a sketch because you are familiar with the sketching part now, by now. I will go to my ladder 1 again. I will remove this, delete this. I will take an input I1. Right? So we have I1. Let me look at the question again. Yes, I1 and I2 in parallel, that in series with I3. So I have I1 and I have that. I make it I2. Drag it over there. I1 and I2 in parallel, in series with I3. I select I3, right? Drag it over there. Connect. I1, I2. Alright. Clear up to this point?
Ma'am, how
Yeah.
did you connect both of those to I2?
Both of those to I2. You mean this line?
I1. Yes. Connect those together. It's an incompatible connector.
Wait. I will remove this and do it again then. Delete this. Delete this. Right. So that means it says this is what is incompatible. You cannot connect this to this, right? You can't connect this to this. You have to connect this I2 terminal to the input port of I3, right? Then you have to connect I1, right? You can't go here. You have to go here. Clear?
I don't think we can see that.
I can't. Sorry. I'm not sharing the screen. Okay. How come? Now can you see? Alright, I will remove everything again. Now can you see? Yes? Can you
Yes.
see the screen? Alright. You connect. You press and drag the power rail to I1. You press and drag the power rail to I2. I hope you are clear with that. If you take I2 and try to connect to I1, it will say incompatible connector. Therefore, you don't do that. You press I2 terminal, drag and drop onto I3. Then it will be fine. You take I1 connection, you can't go to I2, incompatible, go to I3 and connect. Hope you are done now. Final step, take the relay coil. Place it there. Connect it to that. Alright, clear. Is it clear? Are you
Yes,
following me?
ma'am.
Yeah, please do this, right? Because this is a hands-on session and this is meant to be a hands-on session and I want it to actually be so that you are familiar with the software, and if you have any questions now itself, you can clarify them. Go to simulation mode. Since these are all push buttons, right click. But we have a difficulty pressing 2 buttons. Alright, I will leave it as switches. If you turn on I1 alone, nothing happens. If you turn on I2, nothing happens. If you turn on I1 and I3, the bulb illuminates. If you turn on I2 and I3, till the bulb illuminates. Okay, so I hope you are clear. Alright, now tell me, if we are going to write this program using function block diagram, using blocks, boxes, what will you do? How will you write it?
We can convert this, ma'am.
Yes, we can convert this. Or if you are writing from scratch, how many boxes are, or what are the boxes you will require? It is a simple thing. When you think of this circuit, you can see 2 inputs in parallel. When there are inputs in parallel, what is the logical operation that we use? This switch or this switch. We
Oh.
say O operation. Therefore, you take a O box, put I1 and I2 as the inputs. Next thing, this O box, O logic, is in series with I3. If something is in series, that means this condition and this condition, AND operation. What you do is you take this O operation result and you take the I3, give both to an AND operation box. Right. So when you convert, you will see that. Right. See, I1 and I2 come into O operation. That result with I3 AND operation, and the result is Q1. Right. So I hope you are clear. You got an understanding of what the ladder language is like and what the FBD, function block diagram language, is like. Okay. Right. So I think we should proceed now. Look at the next question. Alright. So there it's a little bit different. Read this question. Read this question and then try to find a solution. I want you to work first in ladder language. All right, so now this time I want to actually see a screen share. So the question is, there is a relay started with S1 and it remains on. That means when you press S1 once, the relay is started. Okay, so the relay you can take as one output, or you can even take a bulb as one output. We have one digital output. You have one digital input S1. When S1 is pressed once, the output is started, and when S1 is released, still the output is working, right? Now this is a little bit different from what we did so far. When you press S1 once, the output is started, and when you release S1, still the output runs until the second digital input S2 is pressed. When the second digital input S2 is pressed only, the output turns off. Right? So I hope some of you must be familiar with this kind of scenario, how it is handled using hardwired electrical circuits. You can use that knowledge and try to write the ladder program for this. So how will your ladder program look like? Okay, so anybody who has done, I will stop sharing. You can share your screen. Okay, so sir, can I see your working? So this is the question, and we will find a solution for this. Okay, so taking a new ladder diagram. All right, add a new diagram. If you want, you can give the name settings, or you can leave it blank. You can enter these IP addresses and stuff later when you are actually connecting to the logo module. I'll leave them blank, right? Then I will turn the platform into ladder, or the language, programming language, I make it ladder, right? So what it says is when S1 is pressed. So initially S1 is wired to I1 terminal. When I1 is pressed, we want the output to turn on. We take the output, right? Now what? When S1 is pressed, you want the bulb or the output to turn on, right? We can simulate this easily like this. When S1 is pressed, the output turns on. When S1 is released, we still want the output to run, right? But here, in the previous scenario, the very first one we tried, if we draw the ladder diagram like this, what happens is, when S1 is pressed, fine, the output turns on. But when S1 is released, it turns off. Now we need some method to keep Q1 or the output energized eternally. Very first time it should be triggered by I1, but after that it should be running by itself. This running by itself is obtained how? Using yes. What is the tactic used here? I hope you can hear me and you can see the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so what is the scenario that is used to keep something energized eternally? We take another contact, a make contact, right? But this time we label it as what? Q1 itself. See, it is a contact that we take, right? We take a contact like this. But now we don't label it as an input. We label it with the same label as the output, right? So what we are doing here is we are trying to make Q1 energize itself. This scenario you may have come across in normal hardwired relay circuits. We call this as self-holding or latching circuit. What we do now is we take a contact. This is I1, digital input I1. This is the digital output memory itself shared. We connect this over here. We connect this terminal over here. It will be incompatible if it goes here. Go here. Like that. Now what happens? Now if you simulate, as long as nothing is pressed, the output is not on. Still the output is off. If you press I1 for the very first time, you press I1, what happens? I1 turns on Q1, This Q1 energizes this contact, and now there is a path connecting power to Q1 coil. The Q1 contact energizing the Q1 coil is known as self-folding or latching. Now if you turn off I1, right, now I1 is not on, is not illuminated, but the power flows from this side. Right? So this self-folding mechanism is necessary when you want something to be turned on and left on, continuously turned on, continuously in on state. Is this clear? This is one of the key points that you will require in your future ladder programming. Is this clear? Alright, so I hope it's clear to everybody. Alright. Then, now it is on and it is eternally on. Now we need to find a method to turn it off. And we have a method in the question. The question says Q1 remains on until I2 is pressed. Until. So, until. Well, what we'll do is we'll pull this way. So, we know that this network is the self-folding network. You need to disconnect the power, break the power of this line by pressing I2. Therefore, we take I2 in the form of a break contact. See, I1 was a normally open contact, that is to make the circuit. I2 is going to be a break like this. I2 will break the self-folding path. I2 is in series or is common to both the paths like that. Now what will happen if you simulate? When I1 is pressed, Q1 is on, Q1 remains on. When I1 turns off, now both switches are off, still the output is running, output is on. If you want to break, you turn on I2, it will disconnect the power and stop the output. Now you can even turn these into push buttons. Still it will be the same. Right click, simulation parameters, momentary push buttons. Same here. Turn on, turn off. When you turn on, you just see nothing is on. Press I1 and release. I1 is off, system is still running. Press I2 and release. See? Output turned off. Okay, so this is the self-folding or the latching network that I was trying to explain. Do you have any questions? If you need any further clarifications, please ask. Okay, are you clear? If you are clear, shall I quickly show you how you work this using function block diagram? There is an easy way. You can also use OR logic and AND logic. You can do that. You can try it at home as a homework. But Another easier way is there. I will show you. Add a new circuit diagram. So this is function block diagram by default. In your using your contacts, take an input. Take one digital input I1. Take another digital input I2. This is going to start the output. This is going to stop the output. So you can even do in ladder. You can rename. You can call this as start. Give comments. You can rename this as comment. See, it will show the name. Start and stop. Right? Next thing is under your special functions. Under miscellaneous, you find latching relay. Special functions, miscellaneous, latching relay. You drag the latching relay onto your screen. When you take your cursor near the inputs, right? If you take the arrow and take it near, you will see an S input, which stands for set. A reset input, R. R stands for reset. To the S input, you connect your start. To the reset input, R input, you connect your stop. Now this latching relay will take care of self-holding so that the output will be operated by it. You take the output and connect it over there. Now if you simulate, when you press the start button, the latching relay will operate the output. When you release the start button, now no power coming, still the latching relay holds the digital output in the on state till it is on. Now you press the second button or the stop button. See, it resets the output. You start, turn off the input, still it is continuously running. You stop. Okay, are you clear? Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you are clear now, what I will do is I will wind up the first lab session here and I will give you some homework. You can try this out to clearly see whether you have understood what we discussed. You can take down the homework. I will share these slides once I am done with the second lab because lab 1 and lab 2 are both included in the set of slides, right? So once I am done with the lab 2, I will also make some modifications to this presentation and I will share it at that point. So for the moment, you can look at the recording. I will share the recording of the first lecture, of first lab recording I will share. You can look at that and also take down this question and try to work it using ladder. And I want all of you to be familiar with the ladder language and the FBD of what we have done in the first lab up to this point. You should be thorough with that, and if you have any questions, you can always ask. Okay, so have you finished taking down the question?
Ma'am, what's the question, ma'am?
Sorry.
The logos of software is being shared, ma'am, not the other screen.
Ah, is that so? Let me see.
Now it's all right, ma'am.
Okay, so I hope everybody can see the homework question now. Okay, please take it down.
Ma'am, when will we have our next lab session, ma'am?
I don't know. Dr. Migara has to decide that. He will contact me and then I will prepare the link for the next lab and I will share.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so I hope you are clear. I will send you the link of this recording to your representative. So any questions, you can contact me through mail. If you need further clarifications, you can always ask, right? Okay, so we'll wind up the session. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.